Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 108. 8 for me. My number.
Your audio is horrible.
My audio is really bad. I want to apologize to everyone. My microphone is in my suitcase, which is at Wrigley, along with my computer charger. Big mess. Big mess. Post-game recording, big mess.
Why, did something big happen that
why
all distracted?
Can you tell us why you didn't grab your bag from Wrigley?
Listen, big news for me. I got engaged on Sunday evening. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the listeners for a lot of nice messages.
Were they nice? Were they nice messages?
They were nice messages.
There was a lot of sexual harassment messages.
Listen, a lot of comments about my behind, which is a little aggressive.
Hey, comes with the territory, man.
A little aggressive, but
technically those are nice as well.
There were some like creepy ones where I was like, that's kind of weird.
A little far, some might say, but some very nice messages, very nice. Got to the ballpark today. A lot of people said nice things, said congratulations. A lot of fans, nice congratulations, which was great. But in what had happened was Julie actually drove my car up to Milwaukee to meet me there because we flew in. And then I had someone drive the car back because I had this whole thing planned and my bag, and we did swap bags in the car. And so my bag ended up at Wrigley and it was a big mess. But we're doing the pod and I have bad audio is kind of the moral of the story here. Good lighting.
It's worth it. It's worth it, though.
Yeah, worth it. My audio is not worse than Tom's.
Can we hear the story of the proposal? We had a couple people in the office asking about it.
Sure. I'll tell the story. So we're in Milwaukee, of course. Game finished up. Car service back to Chicago, and then went straight to a art gallery. I had this art gallery opened on Sunday night for us, and I framed a couple of our notes that we had written to each other throughout the years. One was specifically from the Iowa time from 19.
You definitely needed a note at that point too.
Yeah.
You needed some talking to.
And a couple of rocks that we found on our trip to France. One was like a heart-shaped rock that we found. So I had that all framed, and it was kind of like the last part of the gallery. So like we walked all the way around, and then once we got there, she knew what was going on. And I proposed. Then we went to Bouvette's, which is a wonderful steakhouse here in Chicago.
I thought you were going somewhere else.
Nope.
I thought you were going to Nobu.
I got a suite at Nobu for the night. We stayed at Nobu, which was a great time. It was a great time. A little construction 8 a.m. in the morning from Old Nobu, which was not great the next day. But yeah, it was really a wonderful, wonderful time. A little spa day the next day on the off day, which was great.
See, I said you should have laid the groundwork right away and been like, honey, got you the ring. I'm going to go play 36 today. It's an off day. I'm going golfing.
You know, the one nice thing about Chicago right now is that we have not had any days above 50 degrees. I saw something today that we've had one sunny day out of the last 43 days. 43 days, one day.
That's insane.
What?
That's actually like apocalypse type stuff. Like, how's that possible?
We have played in some of the worst weather, and today was no exception. We played today in what was 44, feels like 35, with 25-mile-an-hour nonstop wind. It wasn't gusts. This was a nonstop 25-mile-an-hour breeze with freezing rain the entire game. It was horrible.
I saw that. I saw Keegan hit back-to-back guys, and then like Tim Anderson wasn't happy. He's like, my bad. Like, do you see the weather? Like, I promise you, it's not on purpose.
No, yeah, it was dangerous out there.
I got real beef with the whole feels like temperature thing. What do you mean it feels like? Give me
like why wouldn't that be the temperature?
Right. It feels like 43
That's
or 34.
a good point.
Like,
That's a good point.
It's either 44 or it feels like it's 34, which means it's 34 fucking degrees.
Look at you. Look at you thinking. I know it has to do with like the wind and all that, but like, no, don't tell me that.
Oh, okay. So the wind is making it colder.
Yep. Facts.
To me, the wind chill temperature is the temperature.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like,
I'm not looking at
if it wasn't windy and if it wasn't cloudy and the sun was out, it'd be 75, but it's not. So it feels like it's 43. but it's not 43 either. So it's up to you to decide what it is.
Playing in Chicago, I'm looking at the wind chill every single time because that number is 10 degrees colder than whatever the actual temperature is.
Just dumb.
Jay hit a ball like 103.5 today, dead central. They were coming in on.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Do you want to talk about the new balls?
Are there new balls?
Yeah, they're dead balls.
Good.
We were in Atlanta.
Just the way I like them.
We were in Atlanta. I watched some guys hit some balls, 107, 109, a couple of 109s, 105s, outs, all outs. And it flies there. 109, dead central.
Did you guys see what Chris Bassett said last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. You got on that.
I just feel.
Why don't you tell the people what he said?
So I don't know, like word for word or verbatim, but he was kind of saying like every time you touch a baseball, it has a different feel to it. Like not just like some's rubbed up a little bit more than the other. He was saying one's soft, one is really hard, the other one's okay. But I'm gonna trust him just for the sole fact that he throws that for a living, kind of thing, where it's like, hey, he knows what a consistent ball feels like, and especially after what they got in trouble with last year when they said like the big games had the juice balls and the regular games had the dead balls. Like I would have never ever have batted an eye. I'd be like, oh, you guys are drunk. Like they're not switching balls up. It's Major League Baseball. It's not going to happen.
Tom?
I have the quote in front of me. This is from Bassett. This was after he went 6 scoreless innings and gave up just 2 hits. So it wasn't like he got rocked.
I respect
that. He said
the
baseballs are all different. The first inning, they're decent. The third inning, they're bad. The fourth inning, they're okay. The fifth inning, they're bad again. Then we have different climates. Everything is different. There's no common ground with the balls. There's nothing the same outing to outing. They're bad, and MLB doesn't care.
I get there's definitely different, like depending on how they're rubbed up. But if like one ball's like softer than another, like that is quite a big difference for a pitcher. And like the rubbed up, like there's one ball like you'll get and it's rubbed up real nice. And then sometimes you'll get just like a brand new ball and that thing is impossible to throw.
I think the new humidors in all the parks have a lot to do with it. And I think that it's like no one tested the humidors to see like, all right, what's the perfect temperature for every park? Like, so now you have a set number or a set humidor rating for each of these parks, and you have no clue how the balls are going to react. So like I read something about in Oakland, like the balls are traveling 20 feet shorter. It's like 20 feet. That's the difference between a homer and like a dude camped.
Yeah.
Camped. And then you're making, all these guys that are hitting rock. I was talking to one of the guys from the Brewers, and he's like, dude, I've hit 105, hit a 108 ball in Baltimore as an out. I hit 105 balls. I probably hit like 5 balls that I thought were clipped, like I'm standing up on, and they're outs. And it's just like these are dudes' careers, and there's confidence there that goes along with like clipping a guy and hitting 270 versus like getting out 5 times and hitting 210 early in the season. That can really mess you up. I think it stinks. And I'm like, obviously I'm a hitter and I like balls that are pebbles. I like balls that are pebbles, but offense is down across the board. Like you look up and you see dudes slugging 380 that usually slug 490, and you're like,
see, my thing with numbers are down. It's been a month. You even said you haven't played in a sunny day. Like,
but
let's have a bigger sample size.
They're comparing April to April. You sound like a front office guy with the sample size.
Get
that word out of your mouth.
Hey, I'm trying to see a fair game here.
See, but exactly like devil's advocate. Like if they were juice balls, you guys would have no complaints.
But they're comparing. My thing is they're comparing April to April, and numbers are very much down.
Right.
I get that there's going to be
last year. There was better weather. What if
they're comparing 5 Aprils, including 18, where we know the balls were dead, and still the home run rates are down, slugging percentage is down. I'm just saying, I think it's not good for baseball. I think You want to limit strikeouts? You want the ball in play? You want pace of play? You want action? Cool. Fans love homers. I can tell you, when a guy hits a homer at Wrigley Field, that place is fucking jumping. When you have back-to-back singles and a guy flies out to the wall, not so jumping. Not so jumping. Just saying.
I mean, you're a hitter. It's impossible for you to make this argument and not sound biased. Like,
That's true.
You want it to be easier to hit home runs, of course. I want it to be easier to strike you out. Give me stick, and then we can have juice balls. Deal.
You got the Pelican rosin is sticky.
Oh my god, it's fantastic. I love it. It's a great compromise, I'd say, because I literally like picked that up the other day. And I was like, this is damn near like.
But
stick.
How would you know?
Because I've used stick before.
You said you've never used it. You don't cheat the game.
I mean, I dare you to find me a picture that says they've never used it once. They'd be lying.
Al Hendricks.
Lying. I guarantee he's tried it. 100%. Maybe in a bullpen, maybe not in a game, but I guarantee every single pitcher has used stick at some point. Like even playing catch. Like, I mean, maybe not now, but in the past.
We asked the circumstances in which you used it.
Back before it was outlawed, I used it. Yes, can confirm.
I know where he kept.
But I swear to you, I promise, I literally don't use it anymore. And it was like I'm not a high spin rate guy, so it wasn't even that big of an adjustment for me. It's literally just the days where it's 100 and you're sweating your balls off that you can't really grip the ball.
Zach, you wanted to yell about something this week. Would you like to start yelling about it?
Yeah, the pitch clock. Whatever I said last week or 2 weeks ago, flip it. I am the biggest advocate of the pitch clock. Listen.
Can I just say before you get into it?
No.
Before you get into it, I would like to say I don't respect your take, and I'm completely and totally against you. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, yeah, there are kinks to be worked out. 14 seconds and the hitter has to be looking up at 9. Asinine. Really dumb. The whole step off, you can only step off X amount of times. Really dumb. Can only call time a few times. Really dumb. But when I look up and it feels like I just got to the field and it's the bottom of the 7th inning, Ian, it is the greatest thing in the world. Like listen, I promise you, once the kinks get worked out, guys aren't flipping out over a strike because you weren't looking up that 9 seconds exactly. I'm telling you, I have a hard time. Listen, you know me. I love baseball more than anybody. I can watch any baseball game. Watching 2 primetime teams the other night on Sunday Night Baseball on the bus was hard to watch because of how slow it took. We have like 15 seconds in between pitches, 14 seconds. It was like 30 to 35 seconds in between every pitch. Nobody on, nobody out. 2-1 count, 3-1 count, 3-0 count. What are we doing? You even had the pitch comp thing too.
Can I ask a question?
Is this going to be your Tiger Woods thing?
No. That's good. I should bring that up though. Do you think, I'll admit, a faster paced game probably helps the viewership on TV. Do you think that a faster paced game at all hurts the person who's driving an hour to get to the ballpark, parking, getting a hot dog, getting a jersey, sitting down, and the game's over in 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours? Do you think it affects that person's? No. I saw that on the Twitter thread that somebody was like, I spent my whole day to come to the ballpark and do this, and the game was over in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
No, and it wouldn't happen in the big leagues that quick. Like, if you're under 3 hours in the big leagues, you feel like you played a 3-inning game.
That is true. That is true.
So, like, we're playing 2.5 hours, which is like the new 3 hours for the big. Like, 2.5 hours, like, oh, man, pretty on par, like, pretty good game. Like, we won a game 14-0 last week, and it was under 2.5 hours.
Can you tell me how – all right. Say I was thinking today before the game, I was like, could really use a pitch clock today because it's cold as fuck. And I don't
Great.
Be out here dying. But tell me how you fix – you've been punched out without swinging and missing.
Yes, sucked.
How do you fix that?
I think a few more seconds would be huge. And it's like, I don't think so. Again, like what I said when we were talking about it, the whole aftermath of what happens when somebody gets punched or a ball is called, because there's going to be an argument. There's not just going to be like a seamless, like, oh, you're right, my bad. It's not going to happen. Which I think if you could somehow roll into it, like, hey, sorry, man, or we're not going to have a huge ordeal here. And I think if you added a few more seconds, it would really be beneficial. I'm telling, like, again, 14 seconds you have, and the hitter has to be looking at 9. Stupid.
Do you think a warning? Do you think a warning helps that? Do you think like?
Yes, but again, that's going to take a few seconds to
But
like,
also,
call time. Hey, that's a warning. Like, is that?
But I don't even think there should be a warning. Like, if it's a rule, it's a rule.
Right.
Like, you don't even. There shouldn't even be a warning. It's like.
But the question is, should it be a rule? Should you get penalized for not looking? Should you get penalized for taking too much time? My point in our group chat the other day was, if you put a shot clock on Tiger Woods at Augusta, what are you doing? If you put a shot clock on the best golf takes forever. If you put a shot clock on these guys as they're trying to read a green or make,
there is a shot clock. What do you mean? There is a clock for a reason. You could be put on the clock and be disqualified.
Yeah, but
my thing is, you're in the World Series, and you got a guy on first, good runner on first, whoever it may be, and you pick over twice, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, can't pick over again.
I think
that's the shit where I'm like, that's like,
no.
This is a big moment. Like, what if I need to step off and compose myself?
Right. So again, everything doesn't have to be fixed right now, but I think in between pitches, that needs to get cleaned up. I mean, there's guys taking like, again, I understand it's a job. It is your livelihood. You are making your family, your generations set after, like, it's a game. I understand. But when you are sitting there, 3-0 count, you know a heater's coming. It's not a big spot in the game. And you're taking close to 40 seconds to get the next pitch with the pitch comm. I mean, I don't care how far you drove for the game. You're not having a good time.
I don't disagree with you there. Yes, Tom?
I sent you guys a thread from Tucker Davidson, who's a pitcher who had some interesting thoughts.
Wait, when did that come out? That come out like 2 weeks ago?
That came out 4 days ago. Tucker wrote that thread on Twitter. One of the things, Zach, he basically kind of echoes a lot of your points, honestly. He says he thinks it's pretty good, but it needs to be tweaked. He mentioned maybe moving it from 14 to 17 to 18 seconds, the pitch clock, something like that, a couple extra seconds. The one thing I want to call your guys' attention to, and I think this may be a question for Dakota since he's the only pitcher here. One thing he talks about is that he misses the clock determining the pace and outcome. He says this is in the NFL. If I want to check on the runner 3 times at second and make the hitter call time, he feels like he should get to do that. He says that's psychological warfare. I think that's the exact reason the pitch clock is being instituted, is because if you go back and look at games in the 90s, the 80s, whenever, guys were not checking on runners 3 times. Obviously, they were taking a hold of runners. They were holding them on, but they weren't purposely trying to distract the hitters by just making them feel uncomfortable. I understand I'm not a professional pitcher. I'm not a professional hitter. I understand making a hitter feel uncomfortable is part of the job, but I feel like the stuff where you're just purposely looking over at a runner to try to make the hitter uncomfortable is the kind of stuff the pitch clock could hopefully maybe eliminate. And that's the stuff that could speed up games. Obviously, there's stuff that needs to be worked out with it. But I thought that was a point that he made where he said he feels like he should be able to do that, where I personally, as a fan, again, I don't have the expertise you guys do. That's why I'm asking you. And that's why I feel like the pitch clock is there for, to try to get that stuff out of the game.
And right, do you remember back like what you said back in the day, but I'm going back a few years, but like the World Series and playoffs in 2017 when guys were on edge, in 2019 about the whole cheating thing, like there was a mound visit anytime there was any sort of like discrepancy with.
Yeah, that's why I put that rule in.
Right again. So like we were thinking nothing of it besides the fact like after the game, it's like, holy fuck, that was a 5-hour playoff game. That's ridiculous. And then the next year they implemented the mound visit rule. And again, we're like, holy shit, could you imagine going back and the guy wants a slider instead of a curveball? and you're calling time and going to the mound.
Dakota, can you answer the question about the Tom just asked about stepping off and holding runners and stuff?
I don't think you should be able to control how many times you can pick off or how long. Like once I come set, if I want to hold and then pitch, like that's the thing where I have an issue is like with base runners, like you guys know, running the bases, like I can quick pitch, I can hold, I can go like wait 2 seconds throw, I can wait 6 seconds and go. But like with the clock, it's like, oh, like I can only hold for so long. So you literally can get a perfect jump. Say you see the clock out of one eye and you see me, clock's at 1, you can go. If I've already picked over twice, like you're gone because it's like I can't pick over again.
And that's what I think. I think that'll get axed. It can't happen. Like that is.
That's my
stupid.
only
It's
thing.
not
Like that
part of-
changes the way we pitch. Like I understand in between pitches 100%. Like you don't need to walk around the mound, grab the rosin, kick your cleats off. Like I get that. Speed that
I'm
up.
telling
But
you,
like
like Dakota,
put the guy
you'll-
on.
Yes, like Dakota, you'll see when you get to Iowa and you're playing a few games and you notice how quickly it is, and then you happen to watch a game. It's like it is completely different. Like completely different.
No, and like I said, I'm all good with like speeding it up. It's just the changing the way you like pitch.
Right.
Is what I don't like. Like you give base runners an advantage, and I get they want to give base runners an advantage to get more action and all that, but like I feel like it's just a little too much right now.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? So he mentioned specifically setting, holding, and looking at that runner for like a third or fourth time. What is the advantage to the pitcher in that situation? I think your point's a really fair one about if pitch clock's at 1, obviously the hitter knows and the pitcher and the runners know that you're going to throw. But I do think there's a point where if a pitcher's just setting and looking at runners just to try to fuck with the hitter, that seems like where we're wasting time, and that's like the stuff we should try to legislate out of the game.
No,
in my
but
opinion.
See, I don't do
hard
it.
as a-
I don't do
yeah.
it to mess with the hitter. I do it like to slow the runner. Like
Yeah,
I agree. Like you don't need to look like 4 times, but like if I'm just holding and there's a guy at first, I'm just sitting there holding it. Like the runner, like you two know, running the bases, like you can't time me up so you can't get as good of a jump.
Yeah,
That's
you
the only
get
reason
like
I do it.
antsy. Yeah, you get antsy feet. You might tip your hand. You're not gonna get a good jump because you're standing there. You're like, I have no idea if he's gonna pick off or go. I've been standing here for 20 seconds.
The biggest example of that would be John Lester. He literally mixed and matched his times to mess with the runner because he couldn't pick off because he had the yips.
Right.
But like that's something that he wouldn't have been able to do. Like he wouldn't have been able to hold pitch anymore, which I just feel like for some guys, like you need to be able to hold as long as you need to be able to hold. Because like if you got Trey Turner at first base, like I need to mix up my times. And if I got to hold it for 6 seconds, so he's sitting over there and doesn't know when to go, like that's my only thing. But I didn't do it like to mess with the hitter as much. It's literally more for the runner.
There's some guys that are in the 1-4 range with their time to the catcher, and those dudes that
That's
are comfortable.
very slow for people at home.
Yeah, that's like 1-3, 1-4 is like right on the brink of like if he's a 5 or 6, like I can probably get him. If he's a 3 or 4, it's going to be tough. And so those are the guys that rely on being a set go and then a set hold go. Like the guys that fall into a rhythm are the dudes that have bags swiped on them, and that's a big part of the game that I guess isn't appreciated on TV.
Yeah, and like you said, exactly. Like people don't realize like there are a ton of guys I feel like that are so 1-5, 1-6 like in the big leagues, and that's just like how they pitch because they mix up their time so well that it's hard for runners to get a good read.
Yeah, and like that's a huge part of the game. Like it's a huge part of like if I'm on first base,
you're getting the times every pitch.
Every pitch.
From your
If I'm on first
coach.
base and I take second with 1 out, like it completely changes the dynamic of that guy's at bat, how he's going to be pitched, how the pitcher is feeling about the situation with the base open versus like a double play situation where he can still throw his ground ball stuff. Like there's a lot of little things that go into that. Go ahead.
Real quick, let me finish this point off. That's my only thing. Like I said the whole time, like just don't change the way the game's played. Like I get speeding it up, but you're changing the way baseball is played from a pitcher's perspective.
Can I make a suggestion really quick?
Yes.
This suggestion is brought to you by Topps. It's brought to you by Topps NFTs. Okay. And the suggestion is only penalize the pitchers.
It
Don't
sounds
penalize
about
the
right for
hitters
me.
for
That
not getting in
sounds
the
about
box.
right.
There's something
You-
going on. We
In-
gotta speed the game up. That's fine. Penalize the pitchers, not the hitters.
I'm going to come at you as soon as you're done with this. Go.
Brought to you by Topps. Topps 2022 Topps Series 1 Baseball NFT Collection coming soon to ToppsNFTs.com. That is Topps 2Ps NFTs.com to celebrate the start of the 2022 season. Showcase your favorite players and teams with this fan favorite set featuring both digitally reimagined Topps Baseball Series collectibles as well as NFT exclusive designs. This is exciting stuff that is at ToppsNFTs.com. Coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. Do you have anything else to say about Topps NFTs?
I love them.
We love them. As Dakota says, we love them. I think they actually came out last Thursday was the first one. Was the first pack. So go to ToppsNFTs.com right now. And if you want to get them, it's 4 simple steps to register, to log in, and then to buy them. So go to ToppsNFTs.com right now. And you guys, as you mentioned, you got the MLB Chrome Generation Now, Ultra Short Print, Team Cube 2.0, and the special 1987 35th anniversary motion set. So you got all that right now on ToppsNFTs.com.
I also heard that Topps is in favor of penalizing the pitchers and not the hitters.
Zach, am I the only one that NFT talk is just gibberish to? I have Tom was saying stuff. I'm like, English? I don't know what that is.
I'm actually sneaky doing a little NFT thing when we go to New York in a couple of weeks. I'm an NFT guy. Me, NFT guy.